Okay, so what this is an example of that vertical crossing that I established, right? And you can see where I have located my objects in such a way that they're expressing this notion of exact repetition, but the structure is being conveyed by the lines that we're using, these long bar-like elements. And so what you have here is, and they're starting to sort of fall apart, is these elements that are taped together, okay, to express that exact repetition. Put this here. So what you guys are going to be doing is using small pieces of tape, okay, and you're going to be taping these objects together along these lines in a way that expresses exact repetition. Okay, so here we see the completed organization. I'll kind of rotate it around. All right, and you're going to do 3 of these, okay? One, the vertical crossing. A second one, a horizontal crossing. A third one, an extended line. Okay? Now, when you do these, you are going to document each of these designs by taking photographs of it. And the best way to take the photographs is from somewhat of a distance and zoom in. When you do that, it tends to flatten the depth of field. So, like,
why do we want it flatter?
You're asking, you want me to tell them?
I'm asking the room. Why do we want it flatter? Yes, Joe.
It conveys more of an axonometric view like those.
Yes, we want less distortion.
Okay, so like if I was to take this and put it on the ground, and I stood up here with my camera and zoomed in and took the picture straight down at it, right, it would show a clearer relationship of the pieces to each other, right? They're not shrinking in perspective. So then same thing, I would take a forward shot of it from about the middle of the object, back further and zoom in on it, take that picture. You guys are going to be required to take a top, front, left, right, and rear view of the object. That's five pictures. Then you are going to be required to document it from 45-degree angles. So for example, looking at it from a 45-degree aerial bird's eye view from each of the 4 corners. And so when you're done with that, you're going to end up with 9 photos for each design.
Can we pause the video for a minute?
These don't pause.
Oh, these don't pause. Okay,
These
I won't. Don't pause. Let me just throw this out as a question. Usually, the farther away, the better. Have you ever suggested that people do these photos out in the breezeway and put their project down, get a partner in projects on the floor, and shoot from the bridge down?
I haven't done that. That's a possibility, but what we're trying to do with this is very quick exercise.
Right. So that would be, when we do the similar exercises, we have the kids run over to the CLA building, which has a similar thing, and they shoot off the overpasses in that building, and so you'll be amazed. The further away you are, and the more, sometimes you need a real camera with a zoom lens. But when you zoom in, you can almost get an absolute, a more or less undistorted, accurate representation. Which, when you think about architectural photography, and we can talk more about this later in the term. But when you look, architectural photography is very specialized because it endeavors to show just that, and that's different than photographing a figure, or snapshots of a landscape, or a party, or an event, or something like that. So I just wanted to say, so our model photography kind of mimics what architectural photography does when you see published photos of high-end architecture.
Your 121 instructors will be covering architectural photography as part of that whole digital process. So that'll be one of the things that as we get closer to preparing portfolio, that'll be one of the things that gets covered. Okay, so right now, I want you guys to understand one final thing about this. You are to use those principles that I gave you about trying to not create coplanar surfaces, coplanar adjoining surfaces in the creation of these compositions. Okay? Are there questions about what you're doing? No? All right, then we'll stop the video and release